Marco Bezzecchi has spoken publicly for the first time since being handed a double-long lap penalty for his role in the controversial collision with Marc Marquez during the Indonesian Grand Prix. The incident, which left Marquez with a fractured shoulder and forced him to undergo surgery, has sparked intense debate within the MotoGP paddock. However, Bezzecchi has maintained a humble and respectful stance, saying he accepts the punishment and is fully focused on redemption at this weekend's Australian Grand Prix at Phillip Island. "I didn't expect to be so much faster at that point," Bezzecchi explained. "Unfortunately, I made a small misjudgment. I tried to avoid contact as much as I could, but I wasn't able to do it, and I just touched a little bit of the rear end of Marc's bike."
Welcome to GP Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.
The minor contact had devastating consequences. Marquez's Ducati was violently thrown into the air, and although the Spaniard initially appeared unscathed, he struck the edge of a gravel trap at high speed, a harsh impact that led to his shoulder injury. Of course, the consequence was huge, Bezzecchi admitted. At that point, there was such a big step from the asphalt to the gravel. Unfortunately, from a slide, Marc hit the gravel and got injured. "I feel really sorry for what happened. I never wanted to ruin anyone's race, especially Marc's." Bezzecchi himself was also affected by the crash. After initially staying upright, he too was ejected from his RSGP when he hit the gravel. "I wasn't going to crash, but the gravel kicked me off. I hurt myself a bit too, but it's nothing compared to Marc's injury. I just feel bad that it turned out this way," he said solemnly. Race direction handed Bezzecchi a double-long lap penalty to be served during Sunday's main race at Phillip Island. The sanction is expected to cost him 6 to 8 seconds, a significant setback on a fast-flowing circuit where overtaking is difficult. Still, the Italian has made it clear that he will not let the penalty affect his mindset. "It's a race direction decision. I respect it and accept it," Bezzecchi stated firmly. "At the end, it was like this. I can't change the past, but I can learn from it." Asked whether the penalty would force him to alter his approach for the weekend, Bezzecchi was resolute. "My mentality doesn't change. I will try to give my all to make the best out of the weekend and deliver a strong performance over all 3 days." He emphasized that his focus remains on staying competitive in the MotoGP World Championship standings, where he currently sits third, just 20 points behind Francesco Bagnaia. Before the Indonesian accident, Bezzecchi had been enjoying a stellar run of form, even emerging as a favorite for a clean sweep of pole position, sprint, and Grand Prix victories. Now, with a penalty to serve and redemption on his mind, Phillip Island presents a crucial test of character and consistency for the young Italian. "I've put that race behind me," Bezzecchi concluded. "What matters now is to move forward, to ride clean, and to show my true potential. I'll give everything I have for my team, for Aprilia, and for myself. The penalty won't stop me from fighting." With a championship battle still wide open and emotions running high, all eyes will be on Bezzecchi this weekend as he seeks to transform regret into resilience on one of MotoGP's most unpredictable circuits. Marc Marquez faces a 16-week recovery, a forced farewell to 2025. The 8-time world champion's fight against time has turned into a lesson in patience, pain, and pride. The roar of the Bezzecchi has fallen silent for Marc Marquez as the legendary Spaniard begins yet another uphill climb, this time against a shoulder injury that may sideline him for the remainder of the 2025 MotoGP season. After a heavy collision at the Indonesian Grand Prix, Marquez has undergone surgery on his right shoulder, with doctors estimating a 16-week recovery. That timeline edges dangerously close to the end of the season, casting a long shadow over the prospect of his return before Valencia in mid-November. According to Dr. Pedro Luis Ripoll, one of Spain's most respected orthopedic specialists, the prognosis remains cautiously optimistic. This kind of injury usually recovers well, with an estimated rehabilitation of around 16 weeks. If a fracture is associated, it is treated during the same operation, explained Dr. Ripoll in an interview with Marca.com. Initially, Ducati and Marquez's medical team hoped for a non-surgical recovery. But after a week of immobilization, the scans told a harsher truth. The shoulder wasn't healing as expected. Surgeons proceeded with a stabilization and a acromioclavicular ligament repair, ensuring long-term strength over short-term speed. There was, however, a glimmer of relief. The injury bears no connection to Marquez's infamous right arm fracture from Jerez 2020, a trauma that haunted his career for years. Still, for a man whose body has been carved by crashes and comebacks, every operation carries both physical and emotional weight. With Marquez out of action, Ducati moves swiftly. Veteran test rider Michel Pirot has been confirmed as his stand-in for the next 2 rounds, Phillip Island and Sepang, while the factory squad reconfigures its strategy. Though Ducati's stable remains deep with talent, the absence of Marquez's racecraft and data feedback is a significant blow as the championship battle tightens. Team insiders suggest Ducati will adopt a conservative approach, prioritizing recovery over risk. After all, the image of Marquez rushing back too soon in 2020, only to re-injure himself, remains a cautionary tale etched in MotoGP history. In a twist of fate, Marquez had recently offered advice to fellow rider Jorge Martin, who suffered a collarbone fracture in Motegi. Especially when you're fighting for a world title, your motivation and confidence are sky high, Marquez told reporters. But sometimes you stop seeing the limits. I sent him a message: respect your body. I didn't respect mine in the past, and I paid a heavy price for it. Missing a few races is nothing compared to losing seasons. Those words now echo with deeper meaning. The warrior who once fought pain with defiance now preaches restraint and respect, a transformation shaped by years of scars and solitude. At 32, Marquez's career stands at a crossroads. His physical resilience has been tested more than any rider of his generation, yet his determination remains undimmed. Doctors believe that, with careful rehabilitation, he could return fully fit for the 2026 season, ready to tame Ducati's next-generation GP26. For now, Marquez's challenge is not against Bagnaia, Martin, or Bezzecchi, but against his own past, his own pride, and the patience that comes so hard to a man who has lived on the edge since he was a boy. The silence of recovery may be deafening, but beneath it lies a vow. Marc Marquez will return. And when he does, it will not be in haste or desperation, but with the measured fury of a man who has learned, finally, that even legends must sometimes yield to time. I'll return when my body says I'm ready, Marquez declared. Not for the calendar, not for the pressure. This time, I want to do it right. If all goes well, Marquez could swing a leg over his Ducati again in February 2026 during the pre-season tests at Sepang. If not, his absence may stretch into the early rounds of the season, marking his longest layoff since the dark days of 2020. And yet, even in absence, his presence lingers. The paddock still whispers his name, the fans still raise his flags. Because in MotoGP, few riders have bled as much, fought as hard, or inspired as deeply as Marc Marquez. When he finally returns, it won't just be another comeback. It will be a reckoning, a renewal of the bond between man, machine, and destiny.